My name is Fatimah Halim. The name of the story is Sunshine and Luna. My mother was a matriarch of my community. Everybody knew her. Everybody loved her. And because everybody knew her, everybody knew us too. So that wasn't necessarily the best thing. But the point is that there were 5 of us. And for some reason, as poor as we were and as small as our apartment was, my mother always had an extra kid. Now, she didn't have foster children or anything. She was just that loving a person. And if a kid ran away from home or didn't have a place to stay, my mother was there to take them in. So we always thought it was maybe 6 or 7 of us because there was always this extra kid. Well, I admired and loved my mother for that. And perhaps that's why, as we fast forward, when I became an adult, I became just like my mother. Now, I know we always say, I'm not going to be like my mother. But I was like my mother, and that was a blessing. My mother used to always say 2 women cannot live in the same house together. And I never really understood that because there were always several women in our home living there. Well, I guess they were younger. But the point is, I never really got it. So I do want to fast forward, as I said before, to later on in my life. Moved to Phoenix from New York. And one day I'm driving down the freeway and I'm getting off the exit. And I see this young Black woman with a little girl. Now, she was about my age, the woman, and the girl was about my youngest daughter's age at the time, was about 8 years old or so. So it was very rare to see Black people walking anywhere in Phoenix, let alone like they were coming off the freeway. And so I was very concerned, and I said, excuse me, do you need a ride? And she looked, and she was like, sure. So I said, where are you going? And she said, oh, we just going around the country spreading love. Well, that was strange to hear from a Black person. It was strange to hear from anyone at the time, but it was cute. And so I said, okay, you want to come home with me? She said, sure. And so I brought her home. Her name was Sunshine, and her daughter's name was Luna. These were the most beautiful people I had ever met. Now, I have 4 children of my own and a husband. So here I was being just like my mother, inviting these people into my home and letting them live there, letting them stay there. It was the best move, I think, that I have ever made in my life. Because this young woman brought sunshine into my house. She was beautiful. When I could come home from work, my dinner would be cooked. My children loved her. My husband, who fortunately was just like my father and who didn't have a problem with me bringing people into the home, he was okay with it. And he was probably even more okay with it because this woman cooked, cleaned. She was a better mother than me, I thought, but it was okay. Her daughter was fabulous, and I thought maybe my kids will pick up a little bit of fabulousness from this little girl. They didn't, but that's not the point. The point is that everybody loved her. I loved her. My husband loved her. My dinner was cooked. I finally felt what it feels like to have a wife. I loved it. And I understand why men want to be married. I swear, I need a wife. But she was wonderful. But after a while, her wonderfulness became a little trying for me. I became a little jealous of this beautiful soul who brought peace and love to my home. Now, she never hit on my man, and my man didn't even look at her in any kind of way other than like a sister. But that didn't stop me from being jealous. Jealous of her wifing, jealous of her mothering, because I didn't feel as if I was as good a wife. I wasn't going to bake. I wasn't even going to cook the kind of meals that she was going to cook. I couldn't even cook the kind of meals that she cooked. And certainly the way she mothered was so gentle and so loving. My children were becoming gentle and loving. That went away real quick. But the point is, they became so gentle and loving during that time. But I did get a little jealous. And I said, I don't know if I want this woman in my house like this. And I never said a word. She must have picked up on it. Because one day she came to me and she said, I think it's time for us to leave. Well, in my head, I said, yeah, it's time for me to leave. But outside, I was like, wow, maybe I really don't want her to go, but perhaps it is time. Perhaps I really need to just step up my game as a mother and as a wife and as a human, because this person sure taught me a lot, and I know she taught my family a lot. And she left. And that day is the day that sunshine left my house. But the story goes on, because we're going to fast forward another few decades when my daughter started moving back in the house with me. She moved back because she wanted to save up some money to buy a house. And then I truly understood what my mother said, that two women cannot live in the same house together.